Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having us. Today, I'm going to speak about a subject that I think has been coming up a lot in the past few years, and especially in 2024, given the amount of elections that are going on around the world and the changing digital landscape when it comes to disinformation and the war between AI and versus AI. And I'm going to jump into that. But before I'm going to introduce myself, my name is David Bar Aharon. Half American, half Israeli, live in New York, head of new business for Cyabra globally. And we'll jump into what Cyabra does in a nutshell and give you some use cases, give you the general landscape of what is going on today and how we're trying to solve it. So today, if we're looking at what Cyabra does, we are a social threat intelligence company. There are a lot of companies today that are looking into kind of the social listening landscape of the solutions that exist on the market and really catching the conversations that are coming out around your brand, a politician, a person, or a place. We're much more looking into the actual threats that might exist on the digital landscape, analyzing those billions of conversations, very similar to other social listening tools. But we're looking for three main things. We're looking for actors, behaviors, and content. And I'm going to speak more about that a little bit later. Looking at fighting AI with AI, the most important thing to take into consideration now is that there's a loud and complex world, a digital world that is being manipulated by bad actors. These bad actors are leveraging AI in order to push forward certain narratives, hurt trust in the world, in the political landscape, in the private sector as well, spreading mis and disinformation, spreading generative AI, deep fakes. And the only way to really fight this war that's happening online that is being automated and actually being spread in massive volumes is actually to fight it with AI as well. And that's what we've created here at Cyabra. And I'll jump into some of the examples of how we do that. Just a little bit of an insider perspective about the company before we move forward to some of the use cases. We were actually the company that was commissioned by Elon Musk to detect how many bots existed on Twitter when he was purchasing Twitter at the time. So during his due diligence of purchasing them, he really wanted to find out the real number of how many fake accounts exist. Twitter said that they only had 2%. Elon Musk believed that they had 20%. We worked with him hand in hand for about 6 months and found that between 11 to 14% of the accounts on Twitter today are inauthentic, and that number is actually only going up. When looking at malinformation, misinformation, and disinformation, this is a quote from Gartner, a new multi-front threat. So by 2028, enterprises are going to be spending close to $30 billion, or it will surpass $30 billion on malinformation. That is cannibalizing 10% of the marketing and cybersecurity budget. So a lot of the tools today that exist on the social media marketing and digital kind of landscape are being purchased today by marketing teams and crisis and comms. We're seeing that there is a split also to the cybersecurity field that is used today to protect email phishing, cloud security, all the different things that exist on perhaps the dark web and other landscapes. We are a big believer that, and also Gartner as well, that by the end of the decade, we are going to see a huge investment and a huge surplus of capital being invested into protecting yourself from the digital landscape as well. Going into actors, behaviors, and content, and what I brought up before, when looking at actors, and we call this the Cyabra ABCs. When looking into actors, we are detecting whether the account is real or fake. We have a behavioral parameter model at Cyabra that is able to look at an account and give you an authenticity score, whether an account is real or fake, at around 90% accuracy on all the various platforms: Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, etc. The way we do that, the behavioral parameter model has been trained for about 4 years on over 600 different parameters. And one of those parameters can be that an account is speaking in 32 different languages on Twitter or on TikTok. That is obviously bot-like behavior. Another one can be that an account is posting every 2 minutes consistently without resting throughout 24 hours of the day. That's also bot-like behavior. So we're taking all of those parameters into account and then giving you an authenticity score and being very transparent about it and showing you that these accounts are authentic or inauthentic. After we find out and we do that filtering on the accounts, we move on to the behaviors themselves. How are these accounts actually acting together? Are they all posting the exact same content, same narrative, same hashtag or URL? Were they created on the same day in a bot farm somewhere in the world in order to spread a certain narrative around a government, a politician, your brand, whatever it may be? We're really looking into the behaviors, whether they're real or fake, but the more interesting things are usually in the inauthentic accounts and the fake accounts. And then lastly, and this I think is familiar to a lot of people who are here today, is the content. So we're looking into the text itself, very similar to the social listening solutions that exist today. We're looking into sentiment analysis, topic modeling, narrative extraction, and that is, we're not doing that better or worse than any solution that exists today, but it's very important to see that when looking at the content, there is a filtering mechanism behind what is coming from a real account and what is coming from a fake account, which is, we believe, is the way to really fight disinformation and start really detecting what is coming from a real person and a fake person. Going into some use cases. So the threats of generative AI are obviously growing today with advanced models, generative AI models, deep fakes. We're looking at possible threats that might hurt either governments or private brands. This is a perfect example. We were actually in DC when this happened on May 23rd, 2023. Fake account on Twitter uploaded an image of an explosion outside of the Pentagon. It was a generated image that wasn't real. The account called itself the Bloomberg Institute, and it had a screenshot of the Twitter tick, making it look more verified. Within 2 hours, reliable sources such as the New York Times and other sources reposted this thinking it was real. And within 2 hours, the S&P 500 dropped by 30 points because they thought America was under attack, which resulted in a $500 billion market cap swing. Now, this is a perfect example of what one image can do on social media today. That can be an image of, for the private sector, that can be an image of one of your products that affects or hurts a certain minority, and someone just generates that in order to, spread harm around your brand or hurt your reputation. For a politician or a celebrity, one, obviously generated image or deep fake can make a lot of damage as well. So we're trying to be that tool that detects these things before they become viral and cause harm. This is a perfect example for the election use cases that exist on the market today. So for disinformation in Taiwan, we were working closely with looking into Lai Ching-te, the current president of Taiwan, and we were doing this research while he was the candidate. When we looked into the name on social media, we found that 74% of all the users speaking about this candidate were actually inauthentic. These are real clusters. We have clusters on our software that are able to show you the inauthentic accounts and how they're all spreading similar behavior. So we found 3 massive bot campaigns, all posting that this candidate was dealing in illegal activities, illegal real estate activities in China and Taiwan. Now, Cyabra is not a fact-checking company. We won't be able to tell you if the content is really true or false, but we will be able to show you that there's coordinated behavior behind these bot accounts that are spreading certain narratives forward. Very similarly, in the U.S. elections, we found that there were 3 massive bot farms all posting pro-Trump bots, all posting negative sentiment around the candidates that just joined the race. So at the time, it was Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, and all of these accounts were spreading negative sentiment around them and praising President Trump. So this was featured on ABC News, and I can share the article a little bit later, but this is more for the election side and the public sector. When moving on to the private sector, this is an example for the financial sector. So we're looking at a coordinated campaign of 63 bots, all reposting the exact same CNBC article saying that Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, knew about all of the activities that Jeffrey Epstein was conducting in 2008. And again, we aren't a fact-checking company, but we will be able to show you that there's coordinated behavior that's trying to push a certain narrative around this very public CEO. and is trying to hurt his reputation. But what happened, which was interesting, is that not only his reputation was hurt, but in the mentions of the content, JP Morgan was mentioned 3 times as much as Jamie Dimon, meaning it also hurt the reputation of the bank itself. When looking at Wells Fargo, I'm sure all of you know the crash of SVB and Silicon Valley Bank and how big that was, including First Republic Bank. A lot of our clients wanted us to see if there were any bots trying to spread negative narratives around them. And what we found was that there was hundreds of fake accounts spreading that Wells Fargo is the next bank to go down, meaning, you should take out your money immediately, and spreading panic around what happened with SVB. Maybe these bots were trying to short the stock, or maybe it was a competing bank. We don't know the source in terms of where it comes from specifically and what their motives are, but we will be able to show you that these accounts are trying to push a narrative forward that Wells Fargo is crashing and trying to go down. So as you see here, this is a fake account. This is a consumer use case. So CPG, if we're looking into one of the most well-known companies, Zara, they came out with a recent advertisement that was a little bit controversial on the recent war that's going on right now in the Middle East. The word Zara was basically scanned on our platform. Very simply, it was just Zara. And we found that 39% of the data was actually coming from fake accounts. There were even days, and this is an activity graph of our platform, there were even days where there were more bots speaking about Zara than actual authentic accounts. And the more interesting part is that there were hashtags that were created by these fake accounts that real accounts didn't even post or share originally, meaning Zara is a Zionist brand, or boycott Zara. These were actual hashtags that were started by fake accounts. So that's a definition of disinformation, and then real people reposting those hashtags, making it misinformation. Another example for a CPG is, and I'll skim through these, Johnson baby powder. We have a use case where we looked into, for Johnson & Johnson, we looked into baby powder and the conversations around their product. We found that 22% of the profiles were identified as fake, speaking about them. And when looking at what they were trying to spread and push forward, we found that they were all posting the exact same article saying that someone won a lawsuit and won $18 million because he got cancer from the product. Again, we don't know if the product gives you cancer, but we will be able to show the coordinated behavior. And this for crisis and comms teams, for marketing teams that are dealing with this type of data. When they see this, they know they can come out with a counter campaign, or even better, not even interact with the bots and with the fake accounts, because they might not have much engagement yet, and interacting with them can even amplify the conversation further. So it's really important to filter through the noise, and that's why we call ourselves kind of the CT scan of social media. Another example is in the healthcare system. We found a very viral hashtag posting Pfizer lied, people died. So this was a hashtag that was posted by a fake account as well. And then lastly, Costa Coffee, they came out with a advertisement of a transgender kind of cartoon. This was during the time of Bud Light being boycotted, Target being boycotted, all of these brands being boycotted for kind of going with the LGBTQ community and coming out with different advertisements that support that. All of the accounts that we found, it was 9% of the conversation was actually inauthentic. But the interesting part was that 100% of the sentiment was actually negative. So when you looked at the content itself, they were all posting negative content around Costa Coffee, boycotting the brand. And a lot of the same bot accounts that were actually attacking Costa Coffee were the same ones that were boycotting Bud Light and Target and other brands that are taking the same kind of route in marketing decisions. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a fake Facebook account. So obviously signing up to Facebook. Next step is looking up popular names that exist today on Wikipedia. It's as simple as that. List the most popular names. Picking Tatiana, putting her in, creating a Gmail account, which is very simple to do, and signing up. Next step is picking a profile image and making it look a lot more authentic, of course. So this is VK. It's a Russian social network. simply copying the image, putting it in as a profile picture. But that's pretty simple, right? We're putting in a profile picture. That doesn't mean an account is looks reliable yet. The interesting part is when it gets to actually giving credibility to the account. So this is again on VK, on this profile of a real person. As you can see, this was taken on 2016. They're uploading the photo, writing some posts. And the horrible thing about Facebook is that you can actually change the date and show that it came from 2016, even though this account was created today. So it gives more credibility to the account, makes it look a little bit more old. And if you continue doing this with over 50 accounts or thousands of accounts, it creates credibility for them and they're hard to detect that they're inauthentic. So this is a very easy example, but it takes a few clicks to create a fake account. And then lastly, giving it more credibility is also followers and how to buy fake followers. There are hundreds of sites that today you can put less than $100 to build a following that is, looks extremely large and looks like you're an influential person. So that's a perfect example of how easy it is to create today a fake account. But the way we're looking at it in terms of the methods of deception, we either have sock puppets, trolls, and bots. We see sock puppets as fictitious accounts that are controlled by real people. So what you just saw on creating a fake Facebook account is obviously a real person that is taking that image and downloading it and creating a sock puppet. Next is a troll account, so real accounts spreading deception, but not hiding behind a false persona. So just wanting to spread misinformation, but acting as David, acting as the person that you are. And then the last one, and that's the one that's most dangerous and what we see, and is also at the highest volume, is automated accounts that are created just as an automated behavior, thousands and thousands of them, all spreading content without human involvement, meaning they are created to hate a certain group, to spread a certain narrative around a brand, and they comment, all kind of interact with each other in a big cluster of fake accounts in order to spread the information even further. And these are accounts that can be created in a matter of days for very little capital. We are able to detect all three of them on our platform. So what can be done? We're speaking about all of these use cases. We're speaking about kind of the way we've helped certain brands detect these disinformation campaigns and bot accounts. But a lot of people think that the most important thing to look at is the content. Where, what are people actually saying about my brand? We have a different point of view where, like I said, the ABCs of Cyabra is looking at actors, behaviors, and content. We are much more focused on the actors themselves, the profiles themselves, and understanding if they're real or fake, and looking at the source. We believe that it's much more important to look at the source, understand if 100 bots are speaking about your product and all spreading negative sentiment around it. You would act much different if you saw that was coming from a real group of 100 people speaking negatively about your brand. So for consumer insights, for marketing, whatever it may be, for crisis and comms, we believe catching the source, understanding the kind of intent of where it's coming from before is much more important before you get to the content itself. So that's why we detect these inauthentic accounts and we work together with the companies, with the governments, and with private individuals in order to work on taking down these accounts, advising you not to interact with them because we can see their engagement in virality, and interacting with them might amplify the conversation even further. But we work together to take these accounts down so there are a lower amount of fake accounts on social media, and obviously more real people pushing forward the conversations. So that's what can be done. I hope this gave you a good overview of what Cyabra is and kind of the war that exists today and how we are trying to be on the front lines of fighting it. And if you have any questions, of course, email me. But thank you very much. I'm happy to also answer any questions right now as well.
Many thanks, David. We have a question from the chat.
Okay, perfect.
How does your tool differentiate fake accounts and bots from real ones? It looks very real nowadays from Lena.
Okay, so What I said before is we have a behavioral parameter model with over 600 different behavioral parameters, meaning one of those behavioral parameters can be the use of languages. So if an account is using 32 different languages, or I'm just giving a number, that is not human-like behavior. We have a model that is able to really scrape their social media profile and see all of the behaviors that they have and then give you an authenticity score. So another example can be that they're posting consistently without sleep, that they were created on the same day as a lot of other accounts, that their image, their profile image is maybe generated and not, and is changed on a daily basis in order to not look like a real person that has an image that is consistent. So we have all these parameters, and of course, there's a lot that I'm not sharing right now that is our secret sauce. But Elon Musk, governments around the world trust us to detect these fake accounts and have given us lists that they knew before that were real or fake in order to detect. And when we detected and went through that list and gave them what is real and fake, we are at 90% and above quality in terms of assuring you that an account is real or fake.
And last one, before to close this session.
Yeah.
Your solution looks very good. Why social networks do not use this platform to erase fake content and account?
Very, very good question. And it's the question that probably comes up in most of our conversations. So we found that the sad truth is that social media companies today, social platforms don't necessarily benefit from taking down these accounts. A big part of their business model, a big part of their kind of the way they generate revenue is by having more accounts look at advertisements that they sell, because they're, in the end of the day, an ad business. And it doesn't matter for them if real accounts or fake accounts are looking at these ads and are on their platforms. So when we come to these these platforms, they aren't very open to taking them down. And it's going to take a lot of work from the private sector and the public sector to do that, which is why we decided to not necessarily just be the tool that detects bots and helps social media companies, but we want to be the tool that is helping private sector clients and public sector clients deal with these things and have a better visibility to what's going on social media. But we're working our best to not poke the bear too much of the social media companies. And when we do speak to them, there is a mix in the landscape of cooperation that we get from the various social media companies.
And do you think there is a way to basically, because obviously they won't get rid of all the bots, but do you see, a will from them to get rid of the most aggressive, I would say, bots and to say the less harmful one? Or do you think that they have a policy that is quite consistent no matter what kind of activities the bot prove to have?
So great question. We found that if it's several fake accounts that are spreading, anti-Semitic remarks or something around your brand, and they're kind of scattered and all have different narratives, then it's much more difficult to ask to take them down, because we do that. We speak with the compliance teams all the time to try to take them down. We found that it's much easier to take down accounts that, one, yes, like you said, have higher engagement and are more, have a higher reach, but also that they're coordinated in their nature. The social media accounts do care. The social media platforms do care if they're coordinated behaviors on their website. So if right now you have 10,000 accounts that were all created on the exact same day, and at the same minute are all posting a post around Coca-Cola or around Trump or whatever it may be, that is coordinated behavior. And we're one of the only solutions that are able to really prove that coordination. And when we show them those lists of fake accounts, that's when they're a lot more cooperative and take them down.